Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle, and this is Chasing Legends. Welcome back to Chasing Legends. My name's Wayne Tuttle. I'm your host once again. Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Check our website out at legendthesuperstitionmountains.com. Additionally, the Dutch Hunter Rendezvous 2025, the 21st annual, November 14th, 15th, and 16th. We're getting close. But now let's get to today's story. Now we filmed this. We went out in the mountains and filmed this. And then everything could possibly go wrong went wrong. And we sat here and it's the morning of, and I looked at the footage and I went, no, not gonna work. So here we go. It's a redo. It's a redo Monday morning to get it out this afternoon. But we will make it just for you. This story begins with someone, his name's Ronaldo, call him Ray. He was going out in the Superstitions. He watches our videos. He corresponded a little with me, and he was very thankful because he picked up Jack Carlson, Elizabeth Stewart's hiking guide, and he planned on a trip in the mountains. He wanted to make that trip in the mountains to kind of get a feel for it. Not necessarily say a Dutch hunter, but wanted the history, kind of get the feel for it. So he set everything up. His plan was to be dropped off at First Water, and then he'd spend a few nights in the mountains at various sites, and then he'd get picked up at Peralta. So he made the adjustment, had it set up. Someone would come up at a certain time 3 or 4 days later and get picked up. So he goes in First Water and he said, went down, dropped down, went down Bull Pass, went to the Three Red Hills, first camp, had a great time. He said it was really, really nice. The weather was perfect the first night, clear skies, light breeze. Said he really, really enjoyed the trip, and he kind of understood why we like spending so much time in the mountains, the isolation. He said he really didn't see very many people, and he was camped by himself. First time in the mountains, but first time by himself in the mountains. But he said he woke up the next morning, made his oatmeal, got everything together, decided, well, he was going down, he was going to set up at Charlie Boy for night 2. He figured, well, it wasn't a big hike, but he would take his time, and part of the idea of this was having the guide, the hiking guide with him. Would he be look at various things on the way? As he took off, one of the things definitely was the master map on the way to Charlie Boy, but he just wanted to hit certain points. He maybe didn't have the GPS, but he wanted to get a feel for the area. Plus, he would be able to pick out Peters Mesa, Bluff Springs Mountain, Blacktop, and he just wanted to kind of get oriented with the stories, the things we talk about and stuff. And he said, everything's going great. He got in one section, and he said there was this little wash. There was an alcove in it. And he went down to check it out. Looked like it had washed out, and it was kind of deep. And it was just slightly above the wash. He went in, and he thought, man, that'd be a cool place to, hike. I should go back in there a little with a flashlight and look. Started to go in, and there was like a fire pit. And he looked at the fire pit, and he said he took a stick and started digging around at it, and there was like bones from a bird or something had been burnt in there. He thought that was weird, and then there were these little white things. And he picked a couple up and looked at them, and they were very small, 2 sizes. He said one was a little larger, one was a little smaller, and they had holes through them. They were beads of some sort. And he was looking at them, and he was thinking, they don't look plastic. So are they porcelain, or what are they made of? And he kind of looked at everything. So he decided to take a few of those because he was interested. Figured when I get home, I'll look at them closer, or I'll have someone else look at it and see what they think this could possibly be. Put them in his pocket, went on his way. When he got down to Charlie Boy, he said there was a few people passed him by. There was a group of 4 or 5 hikers. And he realized he didn't really want to be down in hiking and camping with another group. So he decided before going, he went to Charlie Boy, stopped there briefly, but decided to get back on the trail since he had plenty of time, start heading south, and then just find an area to camp in some distance away south. He said he found wasn't quite a hilltop, but a rise area off to the east. And he set up his camp. Everything's good, has dinner. Said the weather was perfect. He's really enjoying this. And he gets to sleep, and then he wakes up. When he wakes up, he's not quite sure what he's hearing. He's trying to think if he's hearing something rubbing. But he said the thing distinctively that kept bothering him, it was like something was being drug. You could hear it like on the ground, something like being jerked and drug around. And it would get closer, and then it seemed to be further. And that's what bothered him probably the most, is it sounded like it was close, then it didn't sound like it was close. And he thought, how much of it is the trees or something around the area, his imagination, everything's playing on it. Kind of listened to it for a while. He got up finally, opened the tent, takes his flashlight, looks around, nothing around. He said it had to be close enough he would have seen it. He said he couldn't figure out what it is. Went back in his tent, and after a short time, it started again. It would kind of seem like it was getting very close, almost up to the tent. He yelled something a couple times, and then it ceased. And then he would just lay there for a while, and it was almost like as he started to drift off, that's when it would start again. Went on for a few hours, and he said it was kind of threw him off, but he couldn't find any explanation. He never saw anything. He said there was pretty good moonlight. When finally got back to sleep, a little restless about the whole thing. Next morning, has his breakfast, packs his gear up, and he's heading for Bluff Springs. Now there's a spot, anyone familiar with it, down by Bluff Springs, where there's a copse of trees, and you can put your tent in there on the south side of Bluff Springs. And it's a favorite place for people to pitch their tent. It's like the spot everybody loves. It's down around the corner from the spring. He wanted to get that spot, was hoping and hoping, because I talked about it, and he was hoping to get that spot. He got down there, spot's open, he pitches his tent. He's thinking, this is awesome, man. I got that spot. I've had really 2 good nights, whatever that was last night, but now I'm, way down the distance, so I'm good. Who knows what that was? He's kind of put it out of his head. He's just enjoying the trip. He has his dinner, everything. The night's quiet. Goes to sleep. And he starts hearing that noise again. And he says it's just like someone's got something and they're dragging it through around the rocks and everything. And he's listened to it. Now he knows the trees are in closer, so he doesn't quite understand what he's hearing. Thinks it could be the trees on the tent. And he thinks he hears breathing at times. And he's just not sure what this possibly could be. So he gets up, goes out, looks, doesn't see anything. And he's like, if you've been to that spot, he would see something. He looks back in the bushes. He's like, why would I be hearing it there? Now I'm hearing it here. Kind of bothers him, but he's like, I'm not seeing anything. I don't understand what's going on. Gets back in the tent, lays down, but he continues to hear it off and on through the night. It's bad enough now because he's in a different location. Now it's getting in his head. He said he just really couldn't relax and fall back to sleep. So most of the night he's there, he would yell out occasionally, and then it would stop, and then he'd try to drift back to sleep even though it's in the back of his head. But eventually it would start again. And he said it would sound like it was 20, 30 feet away, and then it would get closer, then it would drift off, and then it would come back. And it was intermittent, so he's not sure what all this is. Finally in the morning, the sun's starting to break in the morning and all, and he thinks he hears something outside of the tent, and he starts yelling again because he can't believe it's daylight. Who the hell is this? And then someone answers him, a gentleman, an older gentleman, says, are you okay in there? We're just hiking through. He opens the tent, unzips it, looks out. There's an older gentleman and his wife with their hiking sticks, and they're just standing there, and they look very concerned because he's just yelling from inside the tent. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I had a real rough night. There was something out here. And the old guy looks at him and says, yeah, whatever it is. I mean, you should have never, you must have your food or something in there because something was digging around the tent. He gets out, looks, looked like someone had been scraping the ground around the sides of the tent in places, like it was trying to dig in or something, and he's really creeped out by all this. He said he kind of apologized to the couple, told them he doesn't know what it was. They can't figure out what it is. They figure it had to be a coyote or a javelina or something. And he's like, I don't know, man. It didn't sound like any animal, but so be it. Gets his stuff packed up. He actually starts getting out of there earlier than he planned. Got back to the Peralta parking lot, and he gets there a little early, and he has time to think about it. He can't come up with anything. Just nothing's resonating with him. Why this would happen, what this thing was following him. His friend finally shows up. He ends up spending about 2-3 hours there. He gets home, undoes his gear, undoes everything, puts everything away. And for the next 4 or 5 days, every night he has this nightmare. And it's not the nightmare like something outside trying to get in. It's like it was just a weird, he couldn't remember it, but he'd wake up like the cold sweat, feeling really, really weird. And he said, I could not figure out what it was. Well, finally, because he kept going back through the entire trip, and he thought about those beads. So he had a friend with the Pima tribe, and he went down to talk to him and said, hey, look, told him the story, showed him the beads, and said, I don't know what these are. And the guy told him they look like bone beads of some sort that have been handcrafted. And he told him what he did, and the guy said, you shouldn't have messed with that. And he said, well, how am I supposed to? Oh, it looks like just some sort of campfire. And the guy tells him it's probably some sort of witchcraft or something done in the mountains. Well, now it's in his head, and the guy says, do this and this. He gave him some sage, told him this, give me the bone beads, I'll take care of that. We'll do these things, and the nightmares should go away. He said, sure enough, the next night, he slept through most of the night. He woke up once, but it wasn't nearly as bad, and everything went away. He did what his friend told him to do. And he told me, he said, I don't believe in that stuff. I think I let it get in my head too much. But he said, I never thought about those little pieces of beads of having affected it. And the friend had told him it was some form of witchcraft. Someone had done something there. And that he had taken that and, in those terms, desecrated the spot. And that came back and it followed him home. And he said, you're very lucky, but we'll take care of it. Everything will be fine. Do this. And he said he smudged his house and did what he was told, and everything got back to normal except for the memory of the trip. Now, he may come out to the rendezvous if we see Reynaldo. He may want to talk about it. I don't know if he'd want to talk about it in the base camp and draw something to him, because that's his thought now. But he said, the problem is now he doesn't really like hiking in the Superstitions. He has zero interest in a lot of it. He likes the history, likes our videos and stuff, but he has no interest in going back in there. And he said, definitely not. He will never step foot and go back in there alone again. He said, whatever it was, he is now completely convinced if he returned, it would sniff him out and follow and somehow attach itself to him again. So there you go. There's Ray's story of a little bit of witchcraft and the Superstitions. Hope you're enjoying these stories through October. I believe we got a couple more to go, but we get to the rendezvous. We'll discuss some of these, where people's heads go and how things can affect people. And it really can in the mountains. But until the next time, always remember, and we thank you for watching these videos, and I'm glad we recut this because I think the second time around it's going to be so much better. But always remember, and you can say it with me, I'm Wayne Tuttle, you're not. And this was Chasing Legends.